Let's pause the TV so pretty big compared to the other set there. Was one burnt out. Another one there. So, the infamous, the unheard of. I never knew it existed for 20 years. Always taken me 20 years to find them. I thought the 66 was the top one. I had a 662. Then there's the 66 Series 2, which I think are the French ones. That's the woofer at the front and the passive at the back. Series 2. But this, the 88, 2 driven 12 inches. As you can see, this is aftermarket wiring. Somebody else, my Francais friend Thierry, maybe he did this, I don't know, I never asked, or this is how he bought them. But my first foray into finding anything to do with the 88 was Le Bon Coin, French Yellow Pages classified ads. Thierry selling 4 boomers, French for woofer. I managed to get the tweeters, the mids, the crossovers, the cabinet wadding, the badges, the connectors, the everything, the screws. I got everything from Thierry apart from the cabinets. So these have sat with me in the house, in the loft even, for a long time, protected. The mids and tweeters were blown on purchase, so I only actually bought the boomers, the woofers. The rest was kind of free. But the mids, Winslow Audio maybe. Big up. It's the first time I've turned them on since you re-fixed the cones. The cones were cones. No, I think it was the tinsel wire had broke. So I sent them up to Manchester, I think they are basically, and they fixed them for me. So we're hearing one now. The tweeters that came blown, I obviously, I'll try to show you. It's the front plate. This is another blown one. So there's a story behind all of this and a remedy. But anyway, in my search, after I found out there was an actual model called an 88, which this picture here in the spec page from Celestion doesn't really do it justice. It doesn't look, well, it's a very, if you squint your eyes, it looks like this picture. But the cabinet's far more elaborate than this. Also, with the cabinet, look at this, 500 wide, 11 high, which gives us a resulting volume of 148 litres. I thought I read a 66 earlier as something like 75. So is that even double the volume of a 66? Drive units. The mid's unique. The tweeter's only in the 10. What's the 10 called? Not a Ditton. It's a. Not the mistake is not to be made, i.e., buying Celestion SL6S aluminium tweeters. They very much look very similar, but they're half the magnet compared to the 88s. As you can see here, it's vast. So it's an aluminium one-piece dome. I've actually come into a stock of brand new old stock diaphragms. They're coming to me soon. Then I can fix up my old tweeters. So when I heard about an 88 being available, maybe 20 years ago or so, someone on eBay sold me a pair of these tweeters. DV10s. It's only the whatever is 10 and a Ditton 88. It's the only ones that have the same tweeter. And from where I bought the diaphragms from lately, he described that was the reference tweeter, 4026. That's the part number. 4026 was the top one they made. I'm sure other people would have opinion on this over copper domes and everything else and titaniums, but this is aluminium, as you can see inside the form. Crossover, very, very simple. Good. You don't want millions of components. So it's the second order, 2 parallel base. The coils are about 12 ohms and not about 6 or 7, whatever the 66 had. They're not the same woofer as a 66, even though I think the case, the basket basically is. I'd say the magnet might even be smaller, dare I say it. But what I did notice is, from my years of owning 66s, SR272, if you look at your 66s, your 25s, your 44s, I pretty much guarantee your rubber surround is going to be an SR272. So it's got the same rubber surround as the 66s, 25s, 44s, but you can see the cone is different. Looks a lot more woven, beautifully coated. It's got a nice sheen to it. The baskets are black. I think the 66s were always silver. And if you look at the magnet below, I'm sure the magnet is different. Thierry kindly labelled the position in the cabinet where each of the units came from, so I could keep them all together. You see on the back of the cone it's clearly paper, but the front is very doped. Dipped or doped or dipped in dope or whatever. So yeah, the crossover, this was obviously the factory spec for how people to make a crossover up. Crossover is here, and this, of this era of Celestion, this connection box is standard. I'm going to modify, I might even buy 2 off eBay for my lesser set of speakers, then mod up that tray, because I want to be able to do by wiring and by amping after I've modded these. So what I've got is Thierry gave me, as I said, everything, and then I've acquired this bit of paper somehow. I don't know how I got this because it was pretty cool to get. Specs for the 88. I did see a Wharfdale second-hand Wharfdale online earlier on, and the sensitivity was 95 decibels for 1 meter, and sounds optimistic. Yeah, nicely so. Thierry in France gave me every single thing apart from the cabinets and the front grills. So I've always had a dream for about the last 10-15 years to have a pair of cabinets made for me, which is kind of what I've got going on in the background. There'll be more to that story later on. So I've had a chat with Jerry at Falcon Acoustics about capacitors. Jerry now lists a Ditton 88 kit. He hadn't heard of an 88 before I called up to announce there is a set of 88s around, and here's the engines. You're looking at them. So between myself and Jerry, or Jerry even advised, I've ended up with these. So you look at the standard, that's a 45, 8, 4, I think at 12. So you're lucky there's only 4 capacitors in the whole system. I've seen a lot more elaborate crossovers in the 66, the 25 had a huge one, didn't it? I can't. Anyway, the more components you got that your signal was going through and getting lost through, the more loss you got. So let's have a very, very small filter. Yeah, you could argue this is not very well thought out. The 551, I sold a pair the other day. They had a third order Linkwitz Riley, quite an elaborate crossover on them. Again, Jerry does a kit for the 551. So we've got these huge Solon, that's the 12, that's the 8, that's the 4. And then, although Jerry's kit does offer 5% tolerance to electrolytics, for some reason he sent me 10%. So I'll be getting on to him, see if we can get some 5% ones. But here you are at the moment, we have a 20 and a 25 in parallel to make up a 45. The other ones are all 1 capacitor each. Now these are never going to be able to fit all here, and I was never a fan of the way Celestion have done this. It's literally, it's sad really. In the earlier speakers they had PCBs, actually circuit board with them all soldered in nicely, labelled up, and then you're going down to this level where they're glue gunned to the back of this casing. And yeah, I don't know. I know it's a cost save, but it's poor. And then someone's rewired this, obviously with aftermarket. It's caused a lot more pull and stress, so I've had to resolder this just to get it going. Here's the woofers come out of this upper inductor here. So the 4.5 was the way in, and then the one that goes wrong to feed the woofers. This is 1.5. This is this one here. So this is feeding the woofer pair, or boomers in Francais. Remember, Francais, boomer. And the rest of the components there, obviously, right? So as you can see, that lot is never going to fit in there nicely. It's going to look a pig's ear. So what I probably would do, because I want to buy amp these, that means using 2 amplifiers to drive the speakers, as well as 2 sets of cables. So you've got basically 4 conductors going to the speaker, and then 2 of them are driving the high end, the mid and the high tweeter, and the other amplifier and cable will be driving the pair of woofers. Science to that, obviously we're moving waveform, EMF and stuff on the wave, affecting the higher frequencies. That's the theory. So what I would like to probably do, and I might buy another, there's a pair of these on eBay now for £25. They're not for the 88, they're for a lesser speaker. But as I said, the plastic is the same shape. I don't need any of the gear, all I need is the plastic case. My idea is going to be, I think, I don't want to make a pig's ear off the back of this. It's nice, it says it's made in England, beautiful. I think the theory I've read is when they didn't say they were made in England was when they were started to make them in France. And that would be the Series 2, etc. But this was English. The label which fits in that square box, rectangle box, I have them. It's the actual original Ditton 88 labelling, but it's come off. So to keep these without carving up more holes here to fit the bi-amping, etc., elegantly, what I'm going to do, I think, and I've ordered the parts, they're coming now. Take the binding posts out, and then I'm going to have 2 female 1/4 inch mono jack sockets, as you get on a guitar, your old big headphones on the amplifier, but in PA systems prior to Nutric sockets and plugs coming into play, they were what everyone used to power speakers with. So it's a normal old school microphone plug. Now 2 of these sockets give you then 2 discrete holes about the same size as what you're looking at now, in exactly the same place. And then as we go inside, you'll then go off to the crossover makeup, which will be sitting on a piece of wood or something actually in the speaker below, not on the back of this. And then the wiring can all be done. Anyway, that's the dream of when my constructing friend provides me with some cabinets that he is hopefully making for me. Anyway, so you can see we've got some capacitors to fit, and in the midst of all of this lot, I'm gonna see, turning up the sound, there's absolutely no movement on these woofers, which is a bit of a shame. You don't really want movement, but there's no movement. I can feel it on my hands, they're definitely getting driven. But it was just a chance to actually hear. The microphone's over the tweeter now. Not the tweeter you can hear that's here, that's like this one. Mid. Woofer. Front of face, rear face woofer. Full wave. Second woofer. So also down here, I've bought on their way as well is 90°, very sexy 90° metal mono plugs. So it will eventually have 2 right angle jacks coming out of the sockets, looking even better than this mess that's hanging out. You'll notice that Celestion never had holes in for bananas, but you do put the bananas actually inside the hole there. And so on. So yeah, if the guy, literally Guy, his name Guy, keeps the promise and makes these cabinets, I want to give him a good plug as well, and then we'll hopefully have custom brand new cabineted cabinets for all of these lovely motors. We're going to recap these today stroke tomorrow, and here on the bench, if there's any difference. I mean, it's actually probably going to be easy to hear on the bench because there's no bass being produced, there's no back wave in a cabinet. In fact, you can only hear it if you are above the cone. Jerry, when I was buying these capacitors, by the way, these are Solon. We were talking about, and he suggested I don't use a Solon on the woofer. I will lose bass. So the woofer is going to be electrolytic. I mean, you argue the whole fact that all 4 standard were electrolytic and 10% tolerance from factory. These are 5%. As I said though, but the electrolytic is 10s. It's not weird zombie on my hands. My skin's peeling from being in Brazil. Even the hands got burnt. Okay, so we're going to have a go at putting this on. Have a bit of a sound check difference. Don't worry, I've got feet on. $1100mm tool, 500 wide. The front grill's 4 kilos on their own. Beautiful. Even a bit of furniture, they're gorgeous. So the commission I've kind of paying for, we have copied to the micron the original. Even the original glue is getting used, the original wood type, even the veneers that are actually inside on certain faces, all going to get copied exactly. As you can see, we have the original everything. And not only have I got access now to new tweeter diaphragms, I've got new mid diaphragms, and I've got new woofer diaphragms. That includes all voice coils, tinsel wires, surround, spiders. If you're desperate, maybe I can help you out. For the moment, just a bit of an introduction, and we're going to get on with this little job. This episode 1 of the mini series of the Ditton 88.